Welcome to the Instagram Stories for Monday, October 23rd. I'm your host, Daniel Hill. On Mondays, we talk about what the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, shared on his recent Ask Me Anything. He usually does the Ask Me Anything posts on Friday. I download the clips, then we talk about it on Monday. Let's jump right into the questions. You seem to be testing a lot. How do you decide what features to test? Seems random. I agree. The features that they do test do seem kind of random, except for threads. The threads features they do actually all make sense to me because almost every single thread feature is something that X, formerly known as Twitter, already has as a feature. So those make sense. Anyway, here's the answer to the question, how do you decide what features to test?
So in general, we test most things before we launch them because we want to make sure they're working as intended and that they're actually valuable and useful in the first place. On threads, though, because we're trying to move very quickly, we sometimes actually just launch and have a small holdout to make sure that we didn't break something, and then we turn that holdout off quickly thereafter. But it depends on how much risk there is involved and how confident we are in the idea and on the reception that we get from the market.
Next question, and I like this one. Why would a creator use Instagram versus Threads? What's the difference? I think it should be obvious that Threads is more for text-based conversation, where Instagram is more for graphics, videos, images, things like that. But you could certainly post videos to Threads, and that would be fine. You could post images to Threads, and that would be fine. You could post text on your Instagram story and screenshot it and make it an Instagram feed post, and that's okay too. So I understand why this question is being asked. Here's the answer.
Instagram is better for visual media sharing. So if you are creative and you're making photos or you're making videos, even if they're not precious, perfect ones, but just little stories that you are of what's going on in your daily life that you want to share with your friends, Instagram is better. Threads is better for public conversations. So if you're looking to engage in a public conversation about a topic, maybe it's sports, maybe it's fashion, maybe it's reality TV, Threads, I think, is just fundamentally better for those types of conversations.
I agree with what he's saying. Threads is good for joining conversations, but with Instagram, you can start the conversation. Isn't that better to start the conversation as a fundamental differentiator of announcing to the world, here's what I think, do you think the same thing, or what do you think about it? And then you inspire that conversation? I don't know, just my idea. The next question is along similar lines. How do you think creators should balance content on all the different apps out there? Historically, I've said on this show multiple times, and I will continue to say it, try to create content that you can reuse for as many platforms as possible and post it everywhere. If you spent time to craft something, whether it's a video, and it can become a TikTok, a reel, a YouTube short, post it on Twitter, post it on Threads, but you made the content, post it everywhere. Don't waste it. That's my opinion. Here's his answer.
It's tough. There's a lot of apps out there, and each app offers multiple things at this point. I think it's important that you don't stretch yourself too thin. You don't need to use all the tools and all the apps. But also, I think a lot of creators are getting wise to the fact that it's useful to diversify, to not have everything just in one feature in one app either. And so what that balance is and where the right place on that spectrum is for you as a creator will depend on how much time you have, what you're trying to get out of the platform or the platforms, etc. So you got to experiment with that. But I don't try and use everything and don't use just one thing. I think it's a simple answer.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about broadcast channels, threads, close friends, page insights, and a bunch of other things. Are you ready to monetize your social posts and ride the instant shopping trend? Check out BecauseILoveIt.com, known as Billy. I've connected with them recently, and I'm loving their vision to empower influencers. Whether you're on Instagram, TikTok, or any other platform, Billy is where you can create your own online store to feature products you love. The best part is that brands reward you with a commission on every sale. Easy as that. Visit BecauseILoveIt.com/Daniel Hill to join Billy and get $100 in free credits to share with your audience. Head over to the link in the show notes to learn more and sign up. And we're back. The next question has to do with close friends. If you're not familiar, close friends is a feature within stories where you can share your stories instead of to your wider audience, everyone who follows you who could see your story. Close friends allows you to share your story with a small selected group of people. And so if you have a public account, you can have that intimate group of people who you only want to be able to see your story, and that's the only group of people who will be able to. However, recently, Adam Mosseri announced in his broadcast channels that Instagram is testing the ability to share your stories to multiple audience lists. This would allow you to share stories to smaller groups and give you more control over who can see your stories. He asked as a poll, would you share your stories to multiple smaller lists? 15,000 people said, yes, I want this. And 6,000 people said, no, close friends is enough. I put no close friends is enough because it's good enough for me, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, okay, the next question. Do you use close friends and how many people are on it?
Given I have a public account that I use mostly for work, for me, close friends is a way just to share more personal things with people who know me in real life. So it's, I don't know, 70 or 80 people on my close friends list, and it's mostly stuff that I don't think the rest of you would be interested in. But sometimes maybe I make mistakes and one should go in the other or the other way around, but usually I think I get it about right.
The next question has to do with broadcast channels. Broadcast channels are sort of like a DM inbox that you have where people can decide to subscribe if they want. They can't respond to the messages that you post in there, but they can vote in polls and they can react to the messages through a heart emoji or a thumbs up or whatever. Broadcast channels are a one-way mode of communication, although they have talked about making it a more expansive communication method. The question, how is broadcast channels doing, and do you like using it?
Broadcast channels are doing well. They're a great way for creators to deterministically reach their most loyal fans. So try them. I use them just to send lightweight updates about tests, because I think that's probably something not everyone wants to hear about, but maybe the most passionate people do. They're growing. Retention is good. Overall growth is good. It's exciting.
And the last question we're going to talk about today, what is the most important thing to look at in Page Insights? Page Insights is referring to the analytics that you have within Instagram. I would say personally that the most important thing to look at are the non-followers who are seeing your posts, because that's showing you how well you're doing in terms of either shares or people finding you from the Explore page. Here's the answer to the question, what's the most important thing to look at in Page Insights?
I think reach is probably the most important. If you have a lot of followers, but they never interact with your content, you're going to reach less and less of them over time. So your reach is really an indication of how valuable the platform is to you at any given moment. Now, don't overreact to any one post. I think that is a mistake, because God knows what's happening on any given day. But look at those overall trends. Is it growing or shrinking over time? Do certain types of posts get more reach than others? Yes or no, and maybe why? I think that's, if you had to look at one, I think that's probably the most important.
That is going to do it for today's episode. As always, thank you for listening. If you have 2 minutes, please leave a review of this show. You can leave it on Apple Music or wherever you listen to this show. That would help me immensely because other people can find the show. As always, thank you for listening and come back next time for more social media news.
Instagram news got you covered, sometimes even TikTok. Relevant platforms in the metaverse ahead of the wave, without a break or a pit stop. Still waiting for Zuckerberg to give me the big job. Pause. Use trademarks and logos with Insta's permission, of course. If you like the show and you gain some good info, maybe leave a review. It's a type of applause. Just drop me a message if you want to collab. If you got some good content or you want to run ads, at Daniel Hill Media is where I am. TikTok, Facebook and Instagram.
Fresh financial you is closer than you think. With MyFICO, you can get the right score for your credit goal, including your FICO scores used for mortgages, auto loans, and credit cards. MyFICO provides your FICO score straight from the people that created it. And you can compare your FICO scores and credit reports from all 3 bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, side by side. Understanding your credit has never been easier. So use MyFICO to get a clearer picture of your credit in 2026. Visit myfico.com or download the MyFICO app to get started today.